What's up?
Yo,
How you doing?
good man. What's up?
I'm recording you,
All right.
and I appreciate you being a guest on my 39 travel questions. And it's Lee Abbamonte, straight from New York City, wearing his Yankees cap.
Yes, sir.
I wore mine just for you, buddy.
Well, I appreciate it.
Also, don't want people to see my shiny head.
That is a big balding head that you have there.
Yeah, and I shaved the sides. And I'm thinking about doing what you did, which I don't know if you want to disclose, but you know.
I'm pretty proud of the.
Oh my gosh! Let me
I know it's
rub
tough
that thing.
I know it's tough to get used to, but my hair grows back so fast and so thick, it'll be back to normal in like 10 days. So
Well,
whatever.
mine doesn't. That's why I didn't do mine. All right. So not sure you know how this works, but I'm going to give you 39 questions. It can be rapid fire. So this interview could be 5 minutes or it could be 30 minutes, but hopefully it's going to be around 10 or 15. But let's see how it goes.
All right, shoot, brother.
All right. So Lee Abbamonte, he is or was the world's youngest, the youngest American to go to every country in the world. Every country in the world this man's been to. And he did it by the age of what, 31?
32, but yeah.
32. So tell us, by the way, give me a short bio about you. I know you used to be in finance, Wall Street, made some money, then traveled the world.
Yeah, I mean, short bio. Yeah, worked on Wall Street, worked in the original World Trade Center, then quit, started traveling, came back, worked for another 4 or 5 years, quit again for the last time, and been basically a professional traveler, blogger, TV travel personality for the last 13 years, full time, which is unbelievable, actually, now that you think about it.
Yeah, 13 years. I think we did a panel together. It must have been 2007. Must have been, I think it was the first year you started. I was like, who is this dude?
It was the first year. It was 2011. It was the first year I took it seriously. Okay. And like, that was when I was first, like, I'd been doing it, but I was like also in business school. So I wasn't like technically a pro. I was like a student, but without really knowing it, I was like laying the groundwork and foundation for what would happen.
Gotcha. And where can people find you, by the way, on social media? What are your handles?
Yeah, everything's just my name, at Lee Abbamonte. It's LeeAbbamonte, and then LeeAbbamonte.com. I've written a lot about my travels over the last, I started the website in 2006. So the last 15 years.
And do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I don't really use it much, but it's Lee Abbamonte. Everything is my name.
That a boy. Well, anyway, I have a new YouTube channel, so please subscribe if you're new. Also like this video if you like Lee. If you don't like it, just dislike it. But we know that's not going to happen.
Just participate regardless.
Subscribe. Come on. All right. So I know where you grew up, but why don't you tell everyone where you grew up?
I grew up actually about a little under an hour from where I'm sitting right now in Manhattan. I grew up in Treble, Connecticut, not too far from where John grew up in Norwalk, Connecticut. And yeah, Southern Connecticut kids. There's something in the water, apparently. We like travel and sports and the Yankees, and yeah, good people from there.
Without a doubt. Where'd you go to college?
University of Maryland at College Park. I'm a huge Maryland Terrapins supporter, big fan. I went to business school at Thunderbird in Arizona, which is now part of Arizona State.
And what'd you study at college?
I was a double degree, marketing and finance, and then I have a MBA in international business.
And by the way, did you learn anything? I mean, did you get anything out of it? Has it helped your career?
Not a damn thing.
Really?
Well, I mean, I learned how to get a bunch of degrees and, do what I got to do to get by. So I guess that's worth something. But I met all my best friends in either college or business school. So, I definitely got some stuff out of it.
Gotcha. And what's your earliest travel memory?
Well, my earliest is my first. When 1998, I was 20 years old. I went to London for the first time to study abroad, and I was out there for the year, and changed my life. I mean, I never traveled as a kid, not even like once. I mean, we went to the Jersey Shore sometimes, and I went down to Washington, D.C. a couple times, for like field trips. And then my mother's college roommate was in D.C., so we used to go and visit once in a while, but it was always driving. I never got on a plane ever. And
first plane was 20 years old.
No, I took the shuttle from DC to New York a couple times,
Okay.
like the old Delta shuttle.
Yep.
And Yeah, but that was really it, man. That was a 45-minute flight, and I was terrified every time I did it. But the first time I really flew was New York to London, September 7th, 1998. And it was a Virgin Atlantic 747. And I was in the second to last row, and me and my buddy were in the two middle seats. It was like 242. And I was terrified. And yeah, and who knew, you know?
No kidding. Look at you now.
Yeah.
How often do you fly now, or before the quarantine?
Well, before the plague, I mean, a couple 100,000 miles, probably about 200,000 miles a year, give or take, depending on the year, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Yeah, I'd probably do about 100 flights a year, again, give or take, across all airlines. And yeah, I just travel because I like it.
So my next question is, how many countries have you been to?
All of them, my friend. That's
It's
193 because there are only 193 countries. But if you also include like territories and unique destinations and disputed territories, I've actually been to 323.
wow. Wasn't it 196 not too long ago? Did it change? Did the number change?
No, it's 193 is the number. That's the number of UN member states. And then sometimes you might hear a number like 195, 196, 197. That's because people are adding places like Taiwan, Kosovo, Western Sahara, or the Vatican, things like that. So there's like different numbers, but the actual number of UN member states is 193.
Gotcha. And have you been to all 7 continents?
Yes, multiple times for all of them, including Antarctica.
What's your favorite American city?
Probably New York.
Favorite international city?
I mean, that's really hard to say, but I would probably go with Sydney.
Favorite, friendliest people in the world?
Probably Canadians.
How about the country with the meanest immigration officers?
Israel, no question.
That's a good one. Friendliest. Oh, I already asked you the friendliest. How about you have no desire to go to?
Well, I've been to all of them. So the ones I have really no desire to go back to, probably first and foremost, Saudi Arabia.
Okay. I didn't think you were going to say that, but you have a favorite airline?
Singapore.
Favorite plane type?
A380.
A380. It's going away probably.
Could be.
Aisle or window?
It depends if I want to sleep or not. If I want to sleep, window. If I don't want to sleep, aisle.
Have you sat next to any famous celebrities?
Many, actually, many. I was just talking about this the other day. A lot of times you sit next to celebrities and they have their headphones on. Maybe they nod to you or whatever, shake your hand or say hello, and then you don't talk to them anymore. I sat next to Senator Chris Dodd, actually from Connecticut, about 15 years ago on a plane from LA to DC. Talked to him for like 5 straight hours. Couldn't have been a more open and cordial guy. It was really cool. And at that time, he was like a very high-ranking, official. So it was cool. And he really didn't dodge any of my questions. He was pretty forthright. It was refreshing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So who do you think is the most famous person you sat next to?
Charles Barkley.
Did you talk to him?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he was one of those guys. He was in sweats. He had the noise canceling headphones on, but we chatted for about 4 or 5 minutes right when we got there, and then it was like one of those 6 a.m. It was New York to Phoenix. He actually lives in Phoenix, so.
Gotcha. Favorite U.S. airport?
In terms of
don't
big
even say
airports,
Newark.
No, God, no. In terms of big airports, I'll probably say Phoenix. In terms of smaller airports, I think Indianapolis has a great airport.
That's what I heard. I haven't been in the Indianapolis airport since they redid it, so I got to go check it out.
Yeah, it's nice. You know what else is good is Minneapolis is a good airport too.
True. Sounds like you're a Delta guy with that one.
No, I'm actually not. I mostly United, but
which is why I'm also wearing my United T-shirt.
I know. I was going to comment on that. Yeah.
You have a favorite international airport?
There's a lot of good international airports, much more than there are good American airports. I'd probably say, it's kind of cliche, but it's so good. Singapore Changi Airport is got to be the best airport in the world. Some others I would put up there would be like, I think Hong Kong's a good airport. I think Seoul's a good airport. Dubai, Qatar. I mean, there's a lot of good airports. Some of the Scandinavian ones, Stockholm, Oslo,
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. I'm with you on all those.
Yep.
Although you didn't say Bangkok, which I think is a good airport.
Bangkok's a good airport. It's so damn big. But yeah, the new Bangkok, if you compare the new Bangkok airport to the old Dam Muang airport, which is still used for domestic travel, by the way, it's like night and day. So
agreed. Do you have a favorite hotel?
like brand or specific hotel?
No, specific. Like
probably the Four Seasons Maui. I've been there every year for the past like 10, 11 years. And to me, it's just sheer perfection right there in Wailea. And like I love to wake up early, go walk along the promenade there, go down to the beach. The pool is perfect. It's right near a couple good golf courses that I love. The restaurants are all good. The people are nice. The rooms are good. And to me, it just signifies being in paradise. You know, from the East Coast going to Hawaii when we were kids, you know, it was like the end all be all of, you know, far flung paradises. And now that I go there at least once a year, if not more, I still never stop thinking it's awesome.
Agreed. I'm with you 100%. And you know what? We were supposed to be at the Four Seasons Maui for the very first time 2 weeks ago. It was my daughter's first trip, and that's where we were staying.
Dude, it's so good. I mean, it's, you know, it'll be back, but I just love it. I wouldn't even think to stay anywhere else in Wailea.
Okay. So what's your favorite island? Speaking of islands.
In Hawaii, it's Maui, no question. But they're all good. Maui, then the Big Island. But if we're talking anywhere in the world, I once wrote a story called "The 30 Best Islands in the World," and you know, I've been to a lot of islands. I ranked something called Lord Howe Island, which is about 900 miles off the east coast of Australia, and it's technically part of New South Wales. They limit it to 200 people on the island at any time. It's like sheer perfection. It's very expensive. It's a pain in the butt to get to, but it is just perfection.
I've never been. I want to go, although I don't really feel like flying the ATRs, which they fly over there.
Yeah, they do.
Do you have a favorite travel credit card?
Yeah, I mean, I really only use two different cards. So the Bank of America Premium Rewards card and the Chase Sapphire.
All right. And did I ask you your favorite beach yet? I don't think I did. Favorite beach?
Favorite beach is tough. There's so many good ones, and there's different good ones for different reasons. So I'll just name a few. Probably my all-time favorite beach would be on Easter Island. It's called Playa Anaquina or Anaquina Beach. It's so cool. It's beautiful. The water's beautiful. The sand is white. But then they have moai, you know, those famous Easter Island moai, like right there on the beach, which gives it just like an added, you know, push. It's super cool. I love Easter Island. Other than that, there's an island called Fernando de Noronha off the coast of Brazil, and there's a beach there called Praia de Sancho. If you look at those like lists of top 10 beaches, it's always there. And it's this beautiful horseshoe beach. It's just incredible. Speaking of Horseshoe Bay in Bermuda is another one that's absolutely unbelievable. And then in terms of like urban beaches or city beaches, I think like Camps Bay and Clifton and Cape Town, it's really hard to beat those beaches with the backdrop of Table Mount, and Cape Town is without question, the most beautiful city in the world.
That's pretty bold, but it is beautiful there. Actually, the one time I was there, it was raining the whole time.
Yeah, that sucks.
Which did suck, but I could see the beauty. You have a favorite restaurant, fancy restaurant, hole in the wall, or both?
My favorite restaurant in America is Frank Pepe's Pizza in New Haven, Connecticut. And to the day I die, that will be my favorite pizza place in America. And it is just, I mean, you know, we grew up going there. I mean, we used to stand in line for 2 hours in the cold on Worcester Street in New Haven just to eat there. We'd order two, me and my parents and my sister, we would order two to eat at the restaurant. And then my father would order 8 or 10 to go. And then we would have Pepe's for like, you know, a week. And it was the best idea ever. And
you ever go to the one in Bridgeport now?
Yeah, it's actually it's technically in Fairfield, but yeah, I've been there probably 200 times. I used to take my grandmother there every Sunday before she passed. But yeah, I like that one. There's now one in Yonkers, which is, you know, the closest one to Manhattan. So I go there sometimes. Okay. And then there's one at Mohegan Sun. Now they have one in Chestnut Hill, and they're building one in Potomac, Maryland, which like blows my mind.
Wow.
But in terms of global favorite restaurants, my two favorites are both in Italy. Most people have probably seen Eat, Pray, Love, but the pizza place that they eat at there, it's called Da Michele in Napoli, Italy. That's the best pizza I've ever tasted in my life. It's so good, it makes you want to cry. And then there's a restaurant in Rome called Taverna Trilusta over in Trastevere. And like they got bucatini matriciana. Dude, it's so good. And they cook it right at the table. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm like drooling just thinking about it.
Do you have a photographic memory?
Yeah.
I think you do. I mean,
yeah. No, it's weird. It's almost embarrassing.
good job. So do you have a favorite food besides pizza, or is it pizza?
I mean, I could live on pizza, sushi, and like Mexican, like tacos, nachos, enchiladas, anything Mexican, Japanese, or Italian, I could live on. I mean, yeah, I mean, those would be my three favorite foods, genres, whatever, without question.
How about favorite fruit?
Favorite fruit, probably a kiwi.
You know, you're not the first one to say that on this.
Yeah, I mean, kiwis are freaking delicious. The only thing that's annoying is actually opening them, or peeling them or whatever. But other than that, I mean, they're delicious, especially if they're like in season and ripe. There's just nothing better.
Mangosteen or rambutan, you like those?
Yeah, I mean, I like them both. You know what else I like is passion fruit and dragon fruit. I like that too.
I do not like dragon fruit.
No.
What's the craziest thing you've eaten?
I get asked this a lot, and I've eaten a lot of the typical weird things like bugs and stuff like that in Mexico and in Asia and different places. But the worst things I've ever eaten are things I don't even know what they were in like Asian street markets, and that's probably one of the reasons I hate markets, is because it was like unidentified like fish and meats and like just weird things that I wanted to eat to try to fit in with the local culture and like be a real traveler and all that stuff. Now I won't even touch the stuff. It's just so disgusting. I'm not a market guy.
And did you get sick?
I've gotten sick a bunch of times. I've had horrible food poisoning at least 6 times.
Where were you?
Never in a place you want to get food poisoning. I will tell you that. Let's see. I got one in India, once in Kenya, once in Venezuela, once in Iran, once in Turkmenistan, and once in where the hell was I? Cambodia.
Ever in America?
No, I mean, I've gotten sick in America, but not like
food poisoning.
I might have to get helicopter evacuated out sick,
Wow. All right. What's your drink of choice in the air and on the ground?
In the air, it is either club soda or ginger ale, and that's the only place I'll ever have a soda, and it's only ginger ale, and it's only in an airplane, and it's only occasionally. And if I'm going to drink alcohol on a plane, which I rarely do, and I would never normally drink this, but it's Bailey's on the rocks. And like you never catch me dead drinking Bailey's like in real life, but on a plane, occasionally I will do it to help me fall asleep. I don't know why. It's just one of those things.
Did you say what your favorite drink was on the ground, by the way?
Oh, on the ground, San Pellegrino water. If we're talking non-alcoholic beverages, I could live on. In fact, I do. If you see my fridge, it's literally all San Pellegrino. And ice cold San Pellegrino to me is like the sweet nectar of the gods. I could literally drink that my whole life and be okay. And then for alcoholic drink, I like scotch.
Okay. And what's your favorite travel movie?
I don't really know what qualifies
as anything to do with travel. It could be Raiders of the Lost Ark. It could be.
I'll tell you this, and it's not really one particular movie, but it's 2 genres of movies, or 2, like, I'll say characters that have both inspired me to travel to places. It's, you mentioned Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's Indiana Jones and James Bond. And Indiana Jones, the one that sticks out in my mind was The Last Crusade when they went to Petra. I remember seeing that when I was like 10 years old in like 1989 or 90, whenever it came out. And I just remember thinking, wow, that's a real place. And like, nobody really knew what it was back then. And I remember right after I graduated college in 2000, I took a trip to the Middle East and I went to Petra, and it was just like the coolest thing because I was Indiana Jones, right there going to find the Holy Grail. Right. And, in a bunch of places like Nepal from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then India from the Temple of Doom. And then James Bond, so many places. Like I literally could quote every James Bond movie. I'm weird. I've seen all 25 of them at least 30 times each.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking. For Your Eyes Only made me want to go to Meteora in Greece, like the final scene, you know, those monasteries. From Russia with Love made me want to go to Istanbul. The Spy Who Loved Me made me want to go to Rio. The Man with the Golden Gun made me want to go to Thailand. License to Kill to the Florida Keys. You know, I could go on and on, but it was always that. And then every time I'm in a place, and I could tell you where every James Bond movie was filmed, I'm like, James Bond was here, and it's like so cool. And I say it to myself, but I'm thinking it, and I love it.
That is awesome. I had no idea. I never knew that
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah.
How about favorite travel show?
I don't really watch TV, but if I just thinking back, I mean, you know what I liked, and I haven't seen it in years. Geez, I don't even remember what it was called. They had that little British guy, and he would go around. It was like
Globe
kind of a
Trekker?
budget trip. Yeah, Globe Trekker. Thank you. And the little Ian Wright, I think was his name, or something,
Yep.
right? And man, I used to. I didn't really like him or the show so much, but he always went to places that I had already been to. So I just remember thinking it was cool to kind of see where he went versus where I went.
He's a pretty funny guy.
He seems it. I never met him.
I never met him either. How about do you read it all? Favorite travel book?
Yeah, sure. You know, for me, I'll say my favorite travel book, and it's not necessarily a travel book, but to me, it when I was a kid, it made me think of going places other than Connecticut, because I never really thought of going places besides Connecticut, was Huck Finn. And Huckleberry Finn made me, you know, want to be like a river person, like in the South, and you know, go do what Huck Finn did. And Tom Sawyer was another one. I love Mark Twain. I mean, he's from Connecticut, by the way. And I love those two books. Those are my two favorite books growing up. And I used to want to be, you know, kind of a carefree guy like that. And it, you know, it's kind of funny how it worked out. But Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain are probably my two favorite travel books. And and one other one. And nobody thinks of this as a travel book, but it's generally considered one of the, you know, 5 or 10 greatest books ever written, Crime and Punishment. And I say that because it took place in Leningrad, like St. Petersburg, and obviously it's by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And I remember it inspired me to go to St. Petersburg the first time I went there, which was in June 2000. And I did a Crime and Punishment tour. I actually set up a Crime and Punishment tour to relive where the characters in Crime and Punishment went, and where the crime happened, and how everything went down. It was awesome.
I'm blown away, dude. That's amazing. Favorite travel app?
Trip It, no question.
What do you always seem to forget when you travel?
I often forget a second pair of shoes, and then I've been known to forget my cell phone cord, which is really freaking irritating, because it's like $50 or $60 to replace the iPhone cord every time you lose it, because you got to buy the little box thing and the cord. Which is really annoying. They don't just sell them as one.
Everyone is pretty much giving the same answer about the
I
cord,
mean,
and I'm one of them as well.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, you know.
What's your worst travel moment?
You know, it's funny. A lot of people who know me would probably expect me to say when I got shot at in Libya, but that actually was one of the best moments, because it was my last country. But my worst moment.
Tell us about that one, by the way.
Yeah, long story short, and it is a long story. I was trying to get into Libya for my 193rd country. It happened to be in 2011 during the Arab Spring, and it was just a couple days before Gaddafi ended up being killed. And I got caught in the crossfire at the border between Libya and Egypt, and the car I was in actually got hit. And you know, let's just say I freaked out a little bit, and there's this big clusterfuck. And then eventually we're able to get in. And that's another story for another day. Read my book when it comes out, because it'll be chapter 1. And
when's that coming out?
Well, I'm writing it right now. So
okay.
My worst probably moment is. You know, in Lagos, Nigeria, I was there for 2 days. I was supposed to be in Nigeria for 7 days, but after 2 days in Lagos, I had been basically threatened by police on 3 different occasions that they'll arrest me and put me in jail for no reason if I didn't give them money, even though they would claim that like my visa was no good or whatever, but obviously it was good. just the corruption level there just really frustrated me. And I don't usually get frustrated with stuff like that, but like when you're put in a position where men with guns are threatening to basically put you in Nigerian prison versus like give them a stupid amount of money for no reason whatsoever, it's frustrating because you really can't do anything. What are you going to do? Argue with them?
So how much money did you have to give them?
A couple in the 3 times, it was probably a couple $100. And, at the same time with that story, I didn't have a lot of cash on me, and each time I would have to go to the ATM. So 3 times in 2 days in Lagos, Nigeria, I went to a ATM machine. How many times have you been in the ATM in your life? Like 1,000, probably more. How many times have you gotten the wrong amount of money? It's never happened, right? Never happened. 3 times in 2 days, I got the wrong amount of money. And it wasn't like I was asking for $100 and got 99. It was like I was asking for $100 and I got like 5. So, then imagine like me walking into a bank in Nigeria and explaining what happened. Meanwhile, they have cameras, at the ATM machines. And then of course the guy's like, oh, that doesn't work. It's just there to scare people. And you're just like, well, can I have my money? And then he's like, are you trying to steal from us? Are you trying to steal? I'm like,
oh my God.
No, actually I'm not. And then you just realize it's just a whole cycle of corruption. It was just very frustrating.
Will you ever go back to Nigeria?
I would, just because I really want to have a better experience than that. And I would probably like kind of plan it ahead and also stay at like better places. What people don't realize is it's super expensive there because of like oil and everything else. And at the time I went, I was doing this huge trip across West Africa, not really backpacking, but kind of close to backpacking. And this is about 14 years ago. And like, I don't know, I would have done it differently if I were to go back. So I would like to go back at some point, but it's not like first on my list.
Gotcha. You told me, how about your most embarrassing travel moment?
This will be in the book also. There's a couple, there's a couple horrible bathroom stories. Anyone who's traveled in the third world or developing world can appreciate some of those stories. But in terms of just dumb things I've done, I don't know, man. I don't really like make dumb mistakes when it comes to like travel, really. I mean, I forget stuff once in a while, or like the very first time I was in Europe, me and my friend Mike, who's also from Connecticut, who I was studying abroad with, we were going to go to Monte Carlo when we were 20 years old. And then we were told that you couldn't go to the casino there unless you were 21. So we had spent all this money at 20 years old to go down there because we were excited to gamble at the Casino de Paris, like James Bond. And then they told us that we weren't be able to get in. So instead of just flying to Nice and then just like checking out the south of France and going to Monaco and this and that, we were so mad that we couldn't gamble in the casino. We just said, screw it. And then just didn't go at all. And we went to Paris instead. And I got food poisoning in Paris.
All right. I got 2 more questions. What's your dream destination?
My dream destination, I mean, not to be like whatever, but I've already been to every dream destination I had. But if I am kind of inventing stuff, it would probably be Western Russia or Far Eastern Russia, like Kamchatka area. Like I'm really looking forward to going there and checking out the landscapes and the nature and the wildlife there. It's similar to Alaska, but like with different types of mountains and volcano-y type things. So I'm really looking forward to going there. There's so much in Eastern Russia, and then also Western China is another place that has a lot that I haven't seen yet. So that's the thing about travel, man. You could go everywhere and there's still like a ton of places left to go,
For sure. Before we get to your best travel tip, tell people where they can find you again. What are your social media handles or website?
Yeah. Everything is at Lee Abbamonte, LeeAbbamonte, including LeeAbbamonte.com.
And remember, you guys, please subscribe to this video. Also like it if you like it. If you don't like Lee, then dislike it, but we know you like him. And Lee, what's your best travel tip?
Take half the clothes and twice the money.
That's a good one. All right, Lee Abbamonte, thank you very much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to reading your book.
My man. Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, bro.